you have some things to say.
I was watching Al Gore on Larry King last night, and you know he has a new book out, Al Gore, where he basically really says that Bush was the worst president that we've ever had in the history of this country. And I noticed that Jimmy Carter, a former president, is saying the same thing. So now, if the former president Jimmy Carter is saying it, a former vice president of the United States is saying it, and I have a list here of the things that Bush has done, I don't really understand why he's still there. Does anyone have any idea why we can't get rid of this guy who stole the election in 2000, killed the surplus with tax cuts? Wait a minute. Wanted to privatize Social Security. Let me get through the list.
It's very long, so we might be here for a while.
You might be here. I let you talk yesterday. Now I'm talking. And I love her, but let me do this. He withdrew us from the Kyoto Treaty. John Ashcroft sat in the classroom after learning about 9/11.
No, so he was supposed to freak out the kids when he was reading to them, I
read My Pet Goat for 7 minutes after we were attacked on 9/11.
Right, he should have definitely panicked
the children.
He lied
to get us into the war. He awarded a no-bid contract to Halliburton, Abu Ghraib. He promoted his friend Michael Brown to take care of Katrina. Heck of a job, Brownie. Remember that? Yeah. He doesn't listen to the Iraq study group. He choked on a pretzel. He waited a week to visit New Orleans and then only to watch some jazz. He stood by Alberto Gonzales, who needs to be thrown out. We all know that. And he stood by Rumsfeld, who some people think is a war criminal. He can't pronounce the word nuclear. These are just some...
During this first part of the video, we have first a little bit of turn-taking. This turn-taking was nominated because the first person talking select another person to speak, and then this other person gives a speech. Then Elizabeth overlaps one time, then another time, and gives a total of 4 overlapping. Then when Joy is speaking in the part of Michael Brown to take care of Katrina, heck of a job, Brownie, remember that, we see and we listen a little bit of back channeling. Back channeling is when the other person who is listening gives some kind of feedback with the expression yeah, that it's that person wants to say that she's getting the idea, she's getting what the speaker is saying. Then we have 1 or 2 times a little bit of applauses from the audience, and then these applauses are even louder when the speaker makes 1 or 2 jokes about what
now
saying.
Then in the same part of the video we are going to talk about some reference words. Okay, right here we're handled with cataphoric, exophoric and anaphoric reference words, and as we already know, we can have different phrases or words that can be interpreted in 2 different or 3 different references. For example, we have some words that we can use for cataphoric, and also we can use it for exophoric. The same with anaphoric and exophoric, because we don't really know exactly what was seen in the previous TV show or what is in the real context. So we have to focus on this exactly part that we have in our transcript. Okay, first of all, as Rosie introduced the new conversation, she mentioned things to say. Okay, and when she mentioned this part, okay, she's introducing the new stuff they are going to talk about. Okay, we have also some names that we don't really know who they are, because well, those are the United States and we are Mexico. So these names we are talking about exophoric reference, because we have to read about, to see some news, or to listen to the radio in order to know who they are. Also we have, like, for example, it is a name but it's not exophoric. We have the name of Bush, okay, but this is a cataphoric reference because we have the name, and later on we have his position, that he's a president. They mention he's the worst president the country has had. Okay, also we have the former president, but they name Jimmy Carter. We have also, they say, former vice president, and this is an exaphoric reference because they don't mention the name, and we have to do a little research in order to know him. Also later on we have, like, they mention this guy who, so they are talking about the president Bush. Okay, then they mention a list of things that in this period of time this man really messed up. Okay, it's like a blacklist. So they mention the blacklist, and in the previous text they mention like it is a mess occasioned by this list of this man. Also later on they mention some facts about this list. For example, right here in this part, as we can see in a purple color, they mention that a specific fact about Kyoto and Ashcroft. So if we don't read, if we don't know the context, for us it's like we have to look for this information outside of the text, outside of the TV show, in some other sources. They also mention a poem, and later on they name the poem. So we have their direct reference, so it's cataphoric reference. Another exaphoric reference is the big contract to help Burton Able Grape. This is like something dark for George W. Bush, but we don't really know what happened there, so we have to look for this information. Later on, his friend Michael Brown. In this part is what I was talking about, that it can be both, like cataphoric and exaphoric, because they mention he promoted his friend Michael Brown. So they talk about his friend, and later on they mention Michael Brown, but we don't really know who is Michael Brown, so we have to look for his name, maybe on the internet, on some newspaper. So it can be both cataphoric with the red color and exaphoric with the purple one. Also they mention remember that. Okay, that little part of remember that is making reference to the promotion of his friend. So we have the direct reference. Also we have Alberto Gonzalez. As I already told you, these kind of names we are talking about exaphoric reference. Also we have anaphoric reference in, well, maybe he should. When they mention he should, they are talking about some previous line in which someone makes kind of a reference, a funny reference. Right here they mention a funny reference, but it's like a sarcastic response. Maybe he should, so he should do the funny thing that they were talking about. And with that we can go on, like with names like Greenpeace, global warming, that's exaphoric, like right here we have global warming and Greenpeace, and we can go on.
Of the reason that this guy needs to be thrown out of office.
Yes, no. But he didn't sleep with an intern.
Well, maybe he should. Now, I'm just saying that
yes, you have
something
your way. You
wrong
have
in this country when we are continuing to support this administration. I am furious today over all of this.
I know you are.
And Al Gore makes me mad because he doesn't run. Now, he says in the interview yesterday with Larry King that he's not running because he thinks global warming is more important. Well, the President of the United States has more power than anybody in the world, and he needs to run for office if he wants to fix global warming and get us out of this mess that we're in. Everyone in the world hates
Al Gore could get us out. Al Gore.
Who else could? Who else could?
I knew I liked you, Sherry.
No, I'm just saying, Al Gore. I mean, I know what he's talking about with the Greenpeace and everything, but you really think Al Gore is the one that could get us
Why
out
not
of this
him?
mess?
What's his plan to keep us safe other than in terms of...
Continue with the video. The first speaker, Joey, gives her ideas, and she finishes her participation, and then Sherry takes a turn which is also without being nominated, and she says something that makes the audience to react with applauses and laughter. And they continue talking, they continue speaking, and there are 3 overlapping which are done by Elizabeth. She really likes to interrupt, that interruptions are called overlapping, with comments like "I know you are," and Sherry interrupts Joey with it's not only an overlapping, but it is also adjacency pair, because it is a direct request or question that is going to be answered by Joey. These adjacency pairs are in color purple, and as I said, the overlapping is also the adjacency part with Al Gore. Al Gore could get us out, Al Gore, and also this kind of question make the audience laugh. And the answer provided by Joey, it's not only an answer, but she also answers with another question. And who else could? Who else? And this could be called also exchanging, because of the reactions and the answers provided by these 2 participants.
Okay, now going back to the reference on also including some ellipsis issues. Okay, we have in this small clip the part "maybe he should." As I already told you, that part "maybe he should do what?" Okay, so we have to go backward in the text in order to know what is going to happen. What do they mean with the part of "should"? Okay, also they mention this administration. This administration is about, well, we're referring to ellipsis because it is like we have to change that part. We are not talking about the government about George W. Bush or the government about Obama. So if we go back in the text, we already know that this administration is referring to George W. Bush.